Gather round and welcome back to another edition of Todd Talks College Football. That's right, folks. It is Tuesday and it is time for the Baker's Dozen poll. That's right, the most accurate poll in college football, bar none. That's right, I'm telling you that because I put it out and I believe what I got to say most of the time. So anyways, maybe my wife doesn't, but listen to me. I'm telling you, I know what the hell I'm talking about here. All right. Let's get into this Baker's Dozen for week number 10, and we are going to start with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yes, they're still going to be the number one team in the country, and we got Indiana coming in at number 2, and Texas A&M coming in at number 3. And let me tell you something, folks. It's real minuscule here, the difference between these three teams right now, and I think any of them could be number 1. They're all undefeated. We'll see what happens here as we get into November, but those are the top 3 teams I'm going to go with here, and it's just a small smidgen. Don't tell you there's a big gap between these teams, because let me tell you, any of these teams could beat the other one at any time. It just depends on where they were playing and how that game progressed. All right, number 4, and this is just a real small sliver, too, from where the top 3 were, and that is Alabama. And the only reason Alabama's here at number 4 is because the loss of Florida State looks worse and worse every week. And yes, it seemed like forever ago, but it's still on the schedule, and they still lost that game. And quite frankly, Alabama probably should have lost that game last week to South Carolina, too. Ty Simpson did not have a good game, like 55% completion rate or something like that in that game. But we're still going to give Alabama the benefit of the doubt here and put them at number 4. This is where I'm going to make a change this week from last week. I had Georgia number 6 and Oregon number 5, last week's Baker Dozen. But I watched Oregon play this week, and yes, it was pouring down rain, but it was Wisconsin, and they should have beat them. And yes, Dante Moore went out earlier in the second quarter with an injury and didn't come back in. But the bottom line here is I'm going to flip-flop these teams. I told you last week they could be flip-flopped back and forth. So I'm going to put Georgia here at number 5 this week, and I'm going to put Oregon at number 6. I think both those teams are really good. I think there's still deficiencies in both of those teams, and they're behind the top 4 teams for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and put Georgia 5, Oregon number 6 in this poll here. I'm going to bring in at number 7, I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. That's right, the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. Haynes King, I don't care what you say, the kid's the toughest quarterback in college football. Might be the toughest kid in college football. I don't know. We'll see. But I really like Georgia Tech here at number 7. I'm coming in at number 8. I'm going to put BYU. That's right. The Cougars, they just keep on ticking and they keep on winning. People thought they were going to go to Iowa State last week and lose potentially. Not a chance, my friend. Not a chance. The Cougars are playing great. They got a bear. They got a tiger. They got a cougar. They got everything going on there in BYU. So I'm going to put them here at number 8. Number 9 is Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is in a perfect position. Here's why Ole Miss is in a great position. Because, quite frankly, Ole Miss doesn't want to get to the SEC championship game because that's just a potential another loss for them. I think they're going to go 11-1 this year, miss on the SEC championship game, and get themselves probably the number 5 seed in the college football playoff. That's what I think is going to happen, and I think that's a real solid spot for Ole Miss here. Now, once we get past that, it's just a crapshoot here. So I'm going to go ahead and shake them up and roll them out. And I'm going to go with Texas Tech here at number 10. Texas Tech at number 10. Now, they got a little bit of a problem. Morton had a couple times he's been injured this year. And they got a great backup that comes in and play well. But he's now out for the season. So if Morton gets injured, this could be a total train wreck for Texas Tech going from there. Number 11, I'm going to go ahead and move the Bearcats of Cincinnati all the way up here in this poll because I think Cincinnati might be the best dang team in the Big 12, and I did not see that coming, folks. Let me tell you, I just didn't see that coming, and here we are, week number 10, and I'm going to put Cincinnati as the number 11 team, and you can argue all you want, but that's where we're going this week, Cincinnati number 11. Number 12. I moved them down 3 spots from last week. They should have probably, could have, would have, should have, almost lost that game to Missouri, or at least Missouri almost tied that game. But I'm going to go with Vanderbilt here. Listen, I don't have a lot of respect for Vanderbilt. Maybe it's just because I'm an old-time college football fan. But, I got more respect for Indiana this year than I had last year. And Vanderbilt is playing okay, but they're by far from great. And I think we can get them on the field with any of the teams I just said ahead of them, even Cincinnati, they wouldn't be able to hang here. I don't think Vanderbilt is going to be I don't think they're a playoff contender at the end of the season. They're going to Texas this week. We'll see if they can beat that Texas defense. And I don't know if Arch Manning's in or out. I heard he's out. I'm not 100% sure where we're going to be by the end of the week. But Vanderbilt's going to be my number 12 team. And I'm still going to roll with Virginia at number 13. And the real reason why is not because I think Virginia is super great. The problem is I got a lot of problems with how I'm going to rank the teams below Virginia. And that would be Miami, Louisville, Notre Dame, Tennessee, teams like that. Tennessee's got a terrible defense, probably the worst in Power 4 conference outside of maybe Michigan State. But this defense is just absolutely pathetic. But I'm going to go ahead and say Louisville, Miami, Notre Dame, Tennessee are teams that are cooking something up. And, maybe Texas. If Texas can turn around and beat Vanderbilt this week, can they get back into cooking something up? Oklahoma, they're on the road this week at Tennessee, so they're cooking something up. But the bottom line here is this is a crapshoot down here. Notre Dame's probably playing the best football, but I can't put Miami right now in the top 13, and I sure as hell can't put Notre Dame above Miami at this moment, although Notre Dame's defense is much different than it was when they originally played Miami there in week number, week number 1, I believe. So, bottom line is, those are teams that are cooking something up. I think Oklahoma, they beat Tennessee this week. They're right back in it. And I don't see how Tennessee is going to hold Oklahoma's offense down. But I also know that Oklahoma's got the number 1 defense in the SEC. Tennessee's got the number 1 offense. So something's going to have to give. The problem is Tennessee's defense is just pathetic. They suck. They're terrible. And they aren't going to be able to hang at all with Oklahoma if they don't fix it a little bit. So there's the Baker's Dozen here for week number 10. And again, we got a lot of shakeup. We're going to be in November. The games are going to get a little bigger as we get on here. But we got just a big mess. But I think there's like 4 teams, maybe 5, that can win this national championship as it sits today. And I think that's Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama, although Alabama's going to have to play better than they played last week. Listen, Georgia could still be in it, but the problem I got with Georgia is their defense just isn't really where it needs to be. Their defensive line isn't great. I don't think their secondary will be able to hold up with receivers. We saw their secondary not be able to hold up against Tennessee. Tennessee should have won that game 3 ways to Sunday, and they didn't. So the bottom line here, I think we're down to really like a 4-team race here to get to the national championship game. And again, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama, and a sliver on Georgia, and maybe Oregon. But I just haven't been overly impressed the last few weeks with Oregon. Well, not the last few weeks, definitely last week, but it was raining down. So we'll see what happens. They did beat the crap out of Rutgers 2 weeks ago. And Ole Miss, I just don't think they got the defense to hang with these other teams right now. It would be a shootout with Indiana maybe, but Indiana's defense is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. This is a much better team. So there's where we are. Baker's Dozen, week number 10. We got the weekly predictor show coming up on Thursday. We'll see what I did last week. It's another rough week. You just don't know what the hell is going on in this college football season and what you should do and who you should take. But the bottom line is, I thought Missouri and Vanderbilt was going to be a shootout. Turned out to be a 27-point total point game. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? But here we are, week number 10. We're getting into November. We got 5 weeks to go before the championship games in the conferences. And let me tell you, when it comes to the Little Six, it is about to get real interesting in the American Conference. Look, the bottom line here is Boise State is out. If you think Boise State is a playoff team, you're wrong. It's coming out of the American Conference for sure. Navy's got to play North Texas. They got to play Memphis. They got to play South Florida. We just saw Memphis come back and beat South Florida. Who knows what North Texas is going to do this week? They got a high-flying offense, but they got no way to stop the run, and we know Navy's going to run the ball. So I'm still going to roll with the Navy midshipmen until further notice, and that would be until they lose. But heck, they could even lose to North Texas this week and still get in there. I see people putting Tulane up there, but I don't think Tulane's going to get there, man. Tulane's still got some tough games coming in the conference. So bottom line is the American Conference is putting in the Little Six contender. We'll see where that goes from there. But it's going to be exciting November, and we're just a few days, and it's getting cold here in Columbus, Ohio. Although I did golf yesterday, but I shivered. But anyways, bottom line is, here we are, week number 10. See you on Thursday for the Weekly Predictor Show. And remember, gather round in ALTT. We'll see you soon.